How are you doing? So here we are a couple days after Christmas. I'd like to know who's getting back on track. Who's doing the do, you guys? It's good to chat with you. I've been in so many conversations with you guys, like behind the scenes. And so I know y'all are struggling a little tiny bit, but that's okay. We're going to get right back on track. It's all good. I promise you. You're like falling off the wagon for 2 seconds. It's not a season. It's just a moment in time. Good morning. Good to see you. Jump on in, you guys. So my name is Kirsten Liebelt, and I'm from Minnesota. Every day we come here, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time, Monday through Friday, and we talk about insulin resistance. This is literally my life story. My dad died of type 2 diabetes when he was 63 years old. He was insulin dependent. And he was diagnosed right around the time that I was born, which really kind of messed things up a tiny bit. And the reason why I was so indoctrinated to believe that it was genetic, because he needed a kidney transplant. And I was in my 20s at the time. I had one baby that was gestational diabetic. I had another baby. I was gestational, not the baby. And then I was hypoglycemic with my second baby. And shortly after that, he's on a transplant. He's looking for a transplant. He's on dialysis. And it's a really grueling journey for him. And I'm a match. And the University of Minnesota said, well, your dad became type 2 when you were born. So you no longer are eligible to give him a kidney. And then when I was 30, just a couple of years later, he passed away. And so this journey is super meaningful to me, obviously. But to my surprise, when I really started to dig and find some questions in my heart about, wait a second, I don't understand. If he was on all of these medications, why is he gone? I don't get it. Isn't this supposed to be miraculous and all this stuff? And no, the actual answer is no. It has nothing to do with scripts do not turn back. Scripts do not heal. They manage symptoms. Okay, so I went on my own journey to figure this out, to realize that, no, you guys, this is not a terminal diagnosis, but that's the best news that you've ever heard in your life, is that this is not terminal. This is reversible. So I love to talk a lot about, Dr. Ken Berry, Dr. Eric Berg. I use a lot of Maria Emmerich recipes. They're amazing. And today what I wanted to do was I wanted to talk to you about the glycemic index, because I feel like the couple of things that I talk to you guys a lot about is the poor, well, it's actually good for them, good marketing that's coming from companies that's marketing to you, telling you why you should eat their foods, and that they have all of these health benefits, or that they are diabetic friendly or whatever, and they're lying to you. They're telling you they're keto. They're lying to you. And or the fact that the information that we get from the matrix is really poor information. And I know that it took me a really long time to even be able to talk about that, because it took me a while to even receive that could not possibly be true. But then one day I had somebody in my world come to me and say, I am really, really, really upset. Type 2, not on injections, not on insulin. Type 2 on pills. And she went to her doctor and she said, I'm trying to think, it might have been her diabetic nutritionist. And she said, I am having a really hard time keeping my sugars under control. And the nurse, doctor, diabetic nutritionist said, well, show me what you're eating in a day. And she said, yeah, absolutely. So she, Ruthie, I know, right? It's hard to receive the lies, I know. But she kind of made out a list of everything she had eaten in a day. And she said, I kind of actually erred on the side of not amazing, like maybe a little too many carbs, a little, like she kind of went on that side of everything. And the answer that came back to her was, oh my God, that's totally fine. You're good. You're good to go, girlfriend. You can have up to 150 grams of carbs a day. Like, you're fine. All you have to do, hey, you guys on TikTok, good to see you. All you have to do is go from a pill to an injection. And she left there and she was so mad. And she contacted me and she said, help me, because that was really bad information. Like, she recognized that. And so the glycemic index, which is what I want to chat about, the reason, good morning, Cheryl, good to see you. The reason why it's so frustrating and so hard sometimes to get information across is because there's this indoctrination that we have going on with terminology. And that terminology we deem as safe or healthy or a good choice or whatever. And the truth is that it's really not. And so now we're undoing. And so for a very, very, very long time, you guys, I didn't even want to talk about keto online because there's so much misinformation and the waters are so freaking muddy and just messy. And the truth is that I had received so much good information from Maria Emmerich and a proper way to do keto and a proper way to view things with the lens of insulin resistance. I couldn't keep that to myself. I couldn't not talk about both sides of the conversation. I tried for a really long time. I did, you guys. I know it sounds really stupid to me now to say that, but I feel like there's so much backlash on it. You know, it's like, oh my gosh, it's not sustainable. Oh my gosh, you're going to like die of a heart attack or whatever it is. And it's like the misinformation is so monumental, but alas, here we are, because this is the truth. This is what's happening. Everybody thinks that as long as they have fiber with whatever they're eating, they're good to go. And that's kind of what the glycemic index is. So let's talk about it and talk about maybe why you're still stuck. Why you're still stuck. And it's because of the way that things are being marketed to you and the things that you're believing, and they can be really frustrating. Jan, good morning. I had such a good Christmas, Jan. I hope you did too. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year, you guys. Oh, it's coming. It's coming. The new year is coming. Okay, so we're going to talk about the glycemic index. I want to give you the top 10 foods that are considered low glycemic index, but why you should still not be paying any attention to that kind of mess. And then we're going to talk about why. What's the difference between a glycemic index and like what even is it? And why do we even have this terminology in our language? If you're on the replay, let me know you're on the replay. I would love to know. And if you're on YouTube, subscribe. I'm putting more and more content over there all the time. Like and subscribe and do all of the things. That would be great. Turn on notifications. We go live here 10 a.m. Central Standard Time, Monday through Friday, and talk about insulin resistance. Okay. Very, very important for anybody who's just trying to get maybe a handle. So I was gestational with my first baby, and then I didn't do anything about this mess that I talk about every day for over 25 years. So I hope that gives people hope. You should be filled with hope. Give you hope. And then when I did, I used targeted supplementation, and I talk about that all the time. And I traded out my food ingredients. And as an Italian, that was a really big deal. So that should give you another layer of hope. We have our 20th 5-day reset starting January 6th. 20th, you guys. OMG, 20. So the group is called Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women. I put that up here for you guys on TikTok. It makes it easier. You guys can go and find that group, Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women. There's over 5,000 of us in there now. And January 6th, I'll go live every day, Monday through Friday at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. And I will teach you about insulin resistance and ingredient trade outs and a recipe. And I'll just share with you like my journey, my upbringing, my journey, so that you can understand that there's somebody in the field with you doing the things. I have completely avoided type 2, and I'm the only one in my family that did it. I'll be 60 next month, and I'm not on any meds. So there you go. All right, your husband has insulin resistance. His dad died, and his dad and brother are type 1 and mom type 2. I'm sorry, Mariana. I know it's a challenging conversation, isn't it? It's like, why the epidemic? Why the epidemic? You know, that's just how that goes. Oh, you're good, Jan. You're good. I knew what you meant. You're so cute. Okay, so let's get into our top 10 foods, shall we? I'm going to bring this a little closer to me. Hold on. I'm going to set up my little device. Okay, so when we go to the store and we see things that are on bottles and we're like, oh, well, that's low glycemic index. I can have that. And this kind of started with a question that I received, and then I did a reel on it, and it was somebody was asking me about Dolce. It's an organic apple juice, whatever. And they were touting that it was low glycemic index. And I'm like, this is a problem. Okay. So low glycemic index. I'll give you the top 10 foods, and then we're going to go backwards. Okay. And I'm going to teach you why. So let me give you the goods right up front. Agave nectar. So if you've been buying agave nectar and you think that's a good idea, no. Low GI due to the high fructose content, but promotes fat storage and worsens insulin resistance. Number 2, low fat or fat-free yogurt with added sugar. Often labeled as healthy, but the added sugars can cause a blood sugar spike despite the lower GI. And you're going to understand why this matters in just a second. Cereals like bran flakes or oatmeal, while these have a lower GI, they can still lead to significant glucose spikes when consumed in large portions or with added sugars. Whole wheat bread is number 4. Number 5 is fruit juices. Number 6 is sweetened almond milk. Number 7 is snack bars, low GI snack bars with hidden sugars. Number 8 is pasta, whole wheat pasta. Number 9 is carrots. That's an interesting one. And number 10 is popcorn. And we talk about popcorn a lot in our little circle of conversation, don't we? We do. And I'll tell you why in just a second. So the glycemic index. Good morning, Claudette. Good to see you. Very good to see you. It's measuring how quickly a carbohydrate-containing food raises your blood sugar compared to pure glucose, which has a GI of 100. So if your scale is from 0 to 100, pure glucose is 100. While it can be a useful tool for managing blood sugar, relying solely on the GI can be misleading, especially for those with insulin resistance. And here's why. Your blood sugar is 70. How dangerous is this? Your blood, I don't think you mean your A1C. Do you mean 7.0? Your A1C is 7.0. I think that's what you're meaning. You want your A1C to be down to like a 5.4. So you definitely want that puppy to come down. You definitely do. But the good news is, you guys, it's totally possible. Okay. So don't lose hope. Don't do that. This is reversible. This is within your control. Out of all the things in life that you can't control. Now, I'm not a doctor. I'm just an Italian girl who figured things out. I asked a lot of questions. Like, what the heck? I mean, honestly, it took me years to figure out a few things. But in my opinion, this is completely reversible. You have so much more control than you think you do. So don't lose hope. Foods with a low glycemic index don't necessarily mean that they are healthy or appropriate for someone with insulin resistance. They might still contain high amounts of sugars or fructose, which contribute to insulin resistance and fat storage over time. When you are insulin resistant, what people maybe don't understand is your cell is what's resistant. It's your cell. So we have to have a cellular conversation. So over time, as your insulin gets higher and higher and higher, and it can't take care of the glucose in your blood anymore, your cell closes the door to the delivery of energy, which is glucose. So your insulin, which is a fat storing hormone, It's really good for women to know this because you might be wondering why you're packing on the pounds. You might be wondering what happened to me. I'm in my 40s and this isn't happening anymore, or I'm in my 50s. Everything I used to do doesn't work anymore. Well, insulin is the conversation. Hormones are the conversation, not calorie in, calorie out, not counting points, not working on the elliptical machine, not fasting your face off. Hormones. And in fact, very interesting side note, the expert that we listened to a couple of weeks ago, and I'm going to figure out how to get that information to you. I'm going to, I was given his PowerPoint and I was given an audio, and I'm going to figure out how to turn this, because this is such good information to help you guys. So I'm going to recreate it in some form. And it might be that I'm incorporating it into the January 6th 5-day reset. So don't miss out. Get into the group, Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women. 5-day reset starts Monday, January 6th. You won't be sorry. It's our 20th one. But when your insulin gets really high, and it's supposed to come and get the food that you just ate that turned into glucose, whether it's a steak or a Snicker bar, I understand 2 different levels of spike, but it's going to take that energy and put it into your cell. And when your cell says no, because it's done now, it's stuffed like a little sausage, and it says no, then insulin goes, well, your pancreas says, well, then I must need to make more insulin. That's really what's going on here. I just didn't make enough. So back at it we go, more. And it's trying to go and pick up it's a delivery truck. Here's your delivery truck. Let's see, what can we name the company? Glucose is us. And it's going to go and get your glucose and it's going to shuttle it into your cell. But when the storage unit is closed and there's a lock on the door, insulin can't open the lock anymore. It's like, I can't. So now you're exhausted. This explains your exhaustion all the time, because you're not getting energy into your cell. And your body's literally like, oh my stars, I'm so tired. That's what's happening. Power of suggestion, that made me actually want to yawn. Kind of kidding. And now insulin is like, well, I'm kind of a fat storing hormone. So let's get to it. So this is why you want to know when something is marketed as glycemic index is low, why it's healthy if you're, diabetic or whatever, and it's not, because it's messing with your insulin resistance. So from a lose fat standpoint, you're losing the battle and you are frustrated, because that is the number one thing that gets said to me in my inbox every single day. I don't know what to eat anymore. I don't know what is healthy anymore. I eat healthy. Why can't I lose 1 pound? Well, let's talk about a completely different track to run on, because this is where your 2025 can be completely different than your 2024 or previously. So they are very misleading. The glycemic index does not account for portion sizes or total carbohydrate load of a food. Okay? A food might have a low GI, but it can still cause a significant rise in blood sugar when it's eaten in larger amounts. Okay, why does this matter? The glycemic index is like a report card of the carbohydrates that you're eating. So this is the hard part. We've been taught that as long as you add massive amounts of fiber into your life, that's your fix. That's your cure. Isn't that a part of why we do net carbs, which I do not teach at all? But isn't that it? Minus the fiber. The fiber's fixing everything. Fiber fixes it all. No. Because you can have fiber in something and maybe it's going to slow the spike. Like maybe it's going to take longer. Like instead of it going, bam, maybe it goes, but it's still going. It's just taking longer to do it. Okay. It's just the duration of time is slower. Doesn't mean it's not spiking. It's just not spiking fast. Okay. So you're still not wanting that spike. This is why I am so convinced. I'm so convinced. This is why people think, well, but I've tried keto. I've tried to eat low carb. I eat healthy. I do all of these things and not 1 pound is budging. My sugars aren't coming down. My A1C isn't changing. All of these things aren't happening. And I'm telling you, this information, this GI information is coming from the matrix. Like you're going to probably get talked to about this at your provider. I just, in my opinion, as just this little girl in Minnesota, that's trash advice. It's keeping you so freaking stuck and frustrated. And I'm just like really, really sorry. Because it's just, So foods with a high glycemic impact, we already kind of know what those would be. Things like white bread, cornflakes, potatoes, sugary drinks. We're not confused about any of those, are we? We're really not. Okay. So white bread, cornflakes, potatoes, sugary drinks, those are all like fast spike, man, to the moon. Like you can get, you can drink straight fruit juice and get it into your system faster than caffeine. Like it goes straight into your blood. Like just give an IV, just take an IV and drink some apple juice. But if you have the pulp, you have the fiber, right? I mean, it's just really ridiculous, the things that we believe in our heads, right? So low GI foods that are misleading are chocolate with added sugar, the fat content. We believe that the fat content slows absorption, giving it a low GI. But the sugar content can still trigger insulin resistance and cravings. So there are a lot of you that have messaged me and you say, the one thing that I'm allowing myself is a little bit of dark chocolate. But my cravings are off the chart. And that's why, because you're still triggering. So if you're constantly raising your sugars and calling on insulin, you are still on the hamster wheel. You're still in the cycle. Does that make sense? It's frustrating, you guys. And I know it is. And I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry that that's just the way that is. Good to see you guys on TikTok, by the way. Thanks for joining in. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay. So chocolate with added sugar, dairy. Okay, now I'm not dairy free, so nobody freak out. I know the benefits of being dairy free. At times, usually not during the holidays, but at times I really do like simmer down that dairy portion of my universe. Just because I know that it can like stall my weight loss and all that stuff. And now remember, I'm 59. I took my 50s and I basically learned how to trade out my food ingredients as an Italian girl. That's a really big piece of my puzzle because now I can help other people do the same thing. I'm still a foodie. And I've lost 3 sizes because when you can get your insulin and your sugars down, you can actually finally lose weight. And then your other piece of the puzzle that you don't know about, we talked about it yesterday. You can go back on the replay, your liver. If you do not take care of your liver, you can't metabolize fat. So that's very important. And I will give you like supplemental answers here in just a second. Most of you, not most, some of you are already understanding the importance of not just taking everything that you see on the shelf or what your friend is taking or a Facebook ad, but targeting for insulin resistance, like pulling back your arrow and releasing it towards insulin resistance. You can target your supplementation like that. You probably didn't know that, but you can. So dairy, it may have a low GI, like low glycemic index, but it contains added sugars that contribute to insulin spikes. So my dad, when I was raised, he got up and he would eat, because his doctor told him, right? You need skim milk for sure. You need skim milk. High sugar, you guys. High. That low fat conversation is bunk-ola. Bunk. It is so bad for us. So he would drink skim milk and then he would pour that on Rice Krispies or cornflakes or Raisin Bran. Sometimes he would do grape nuts. Do you guys remember grape nuts? Does anybody remember those? I'd love to know. Those crunchy, hard, like chip a tooth We ate those a lot growing up. But any cereal that wasn't sweetened, as long as it didn't have sugar on it, it was good to go. Oh, that's so funny. I did that and Instagram gave me confetti. You can do all sorts of things on Instagram. I don't know if you know that. See there, we got hearts. That type of thought process, you guys, it hasn't changed. How much has it changed? My dad died in 1995. 1995. How much has the information that you're being given by your provider changed? Aren't we still told to drink skim milk? You guys, it's so high in sugar. They used to, my mom grew up on a farm in Minnesota, and she used to just shake her head and go, we fed the skim milk to the pigs. Like, why are we doing this? You loved grape nuts, made your gums raw. I suppose that's no different than eating Captain Crunch and like taking off the skin of the roof of your mouth. Grape nuts microwave and like crunchy cream of wheat. Oh my stars, the memories, you guys. And the cream of wheat. Oh, trash, you guys. We were raised on really bad stuff. Anyway, I don't understand why we're all insulin resistant. I mean, I don't get it, right? That is really funny. Oh my gosh, it made your gums raw. That's so funny. Just really bad advice, but that's what he did. And then they just pile on the scripts. And by the time he was done, he had this whole Lazy Susan full of scripts going. And that was literally, that was the point of my mother's tears. I mean, it was a moment, you know, you're grieving. So the morning after my dad died, my mom walks into the dining room and she bursts into tears. Good morning, Carol. You're totally fine. Bursts into tears. And she says, I can't believe I was always complaining about all of his medicine. Why did I do that? And in my head, in just a moment of time, my head said, but why all the medicine? And I kind of tucked it away. And I didn't think about it again, probably for a few years. And I'm like, wait a minute. Why was he on all those scripts? And never getting better. Literally never, ever, not after one script did he start to get better. He literally just went like this, add another one like this, add another one like this, add another one like this, add another one, add another one. If that's the trajectory that we're being given, is it okay for us to question that? Nothing ever turned anything around. Nothing ever made anything better. Nothing ever healed anything. So if that information is faulty, let's get back now to some of the food conversation, because that I feel is the impetus of what is being given to us that is really, really bad information. But it's coming from our providers. It's coming from the nutritionists. And I'm not one. So I fully admit that. I'm just a girl who figured out a few things. I'm telling you. And that means you can too. Okay. So a serving of white bread can spike your blood sugar levels by 50 to 80 milligrams in individuals with insulin resistance. Now, remember, when you're insulin resistant, your body is not responding to food like your girlfriend that's not insulin resistant. Thank you for the hearts. I so appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you. You have to just receive where you are in the moment. And don't hate it. It's okay. Like the minute you enter insulin resistance land, you just now have to change the lens that you're viewing everything through. Put on a different lens of glasses. And I'm telling you, you'll be able to turn back your aching and your lack of sleep and your weight gain. And again, you know, people have turned back their PCOS and their type 2 and their gout and their HBP, and they've gotten off of scripts, and I've worked with all of this, right? Because it's amazing what happens when people can finally get their insulin under control. Like, it's an amazing concept because it's a hormone. So When we talk about the 10 foods that are marketed to us as low glycemic, but they're still spiking your sugars, and you have to understand that. This is why when we get into the 5-day reset, or I've done a reel on it or whatever, everybody out there who thinks that popcorn is wisdom, you have got to stop that thought process. And the first time that I understood it fully was when Maria Emmerich, in one of her, I've got a bunch of her books. In one of her books, she talks about the problem with the counting points system is that the counting points system will tell you that 5 cups of popcorn is only allocated 1 point, which makes you feel like it's almost free. Now, you have to understand that they've created a point system based on their factors, right? Not based on this lens, not based on an insulin resistance lens. Okay. So I don't know what their lens is called. It's none of my, I haven't researched it. I don't really know how they came up with their formula, but an insulin resistance formula is different. So you put on that lens and you go, oh my stars, 5 cups of popcorn is 9 teaspoons of sugar in my blood. But they're telling me it's low glycemic because of the fiber. Is that making sense now? I really hope that's hitting some of you right now. Oh, it's a faulty formula. Fiber doesn't fix it all. Fiber doesn't stop the spike. It slows it, but it doesn't spike it, and it's still dumping sugar into my blood. So we've been taught fiber, 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 fiber. And I'm not even saying that's wrong. I'm just telling you that's not the fix for somebody who's insulin resistant. I'm just telling you it's not. So when you have things marketed to you like agave nectar, which one of these have you still been eating, if you're willing to say, most of you are, that you're still eating, or you still been, whatever, that you thought was okay, that now you understand it's not? Agave nectar, low fat or fat-free yogurt. It has added sugar, but at least it's low fat is what we're being marketed to. Cereals like bran flakes or oatmeal, because of the fiber. You guys, it's so bad. Bran flakes or oatmeal, whole wheat bread, fruit juices, like, with the pulp, sweetened almond milk, like you're going to a coffee shop and maybe you're having an almond milk latte instead of something else, thinking you're doing okay. A low GI snack bar. Many healthy snack bars use low GI sweeteners like agave, etc., but are packed with things like high fructose corn syrup, leading to blood sugar spikes. Whole wheat pasta, carrots. While raw carrots have a low GI, cooked carrots can cause a moderate blood sugar increase due to the breakdown of the starch. Or popcorn, even air popped. Often considered a healthy snack, but because it literally says popcorn and then in quotes or in parentheses, it says air popped. Often considered a healthy snack, but if consumed in large quantities, like 5 cups, that's easy, right? Even air popped popcorn can cause a blood sugar spike despite a lower GI. These foods might have a lower GI, but they're still raising blood sugar. Always pay attention to total carbohydrate content and not just the marketing of lower GI. I want to see if I missed anything on that. Okay. Very, very good. So I would love to know if you have any questions on that. Like, I feel like this is what's messing us up the most. This is why we're still eating low carb tortillas. This is why we are still eating a lot of keto products that are being marketed to us and that aren't helping us. And they're keeping us stuck. And then we're wondering why we can't lose weight. So when I'm teaching food ingredient trade outs, I teach grain-free and sugar-free. and legume free, although I do peanut butter like at Christmas time and stuff like that. I mean, I still do enjoy peanut butter. If I'm in a pinch, I'm out of town, peanut butter is a great go-to. Even though I know it'll totally stall out my weight loss. And peanuts are not considered, it doesn't matter. I won't go down that. I won't go down that whole rabbit hole. But I'm just telling you, you can still be a foodie. And I feel like that is a lost concept because of what happened to us in the 90s. Excuse me, I have to take a sip of water. Do you remember in the 90s, we were told to go low fat? But what happened was then we started this gauge of if you're going to go low fat, they're going to add sugar in to replace it. But if they don't add in the sugar, they're going to teach you like how to, this thought process that fiber fixes everything. But when you are insulin resistant, it really does change everything. Now, for me, when I started to deal with my sugars in my upper 40s, to deal with my own insulin resistance, I should say, thank you so much for the follow, Hot Mess. I appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you. My mom would not leave me alone about my sugars because my dad died when I was 30. And so she would be like, Kirsten, like, do you ever even go get your sugars checked? Do you even go to the doctor? Like, do you know where they are? What's wrong with you? Are you thirsty all the time? Are you peeing all the time? She was on me all the time. And it scared me enough to start paying attention. I didn't really tell anybody else that I was, but I did because it scared me because I was raised with a dad who had sores on his legs that didn't heal, that had all of these issues with his heart, and he was constantly soaking his feet in Epsom salts, and like life was completely different. He was insulin dependent, getting injections in his belly twice a day, right? He was doing that. And that was my whole life. And I remember giving him like back massages, and his back was like leather, like literally leather. The insulin had so changed his, his structure in that way. Excuse me. And I just knew to secretly pay attention to things on my own. So I did not run to the doctor because I did not want to know what the doctor was going to tell me. So instead, I paid attention. Colin, am I drinking too much water, or was that normal? Did I pee too much today, or am I like everybody else? Am I normal? That's what I was doing. So when I started, I was like, how the heck am I ever going to trade out my food? Are you freaking kidding me right now? Like, I'm Italian. I just spent all these years raising my 3 kids on everything white. Like, I am such a sugar addict. There's no way. How am I ever going to stop eating Snicker bars and Milk Duds and Trader Joe's salt and pepper kettle chips and going from salty to sweet and salty to sweet and salty to sweet? Little did I know that everything that I was experiencing, the hangriness, the chasing of carbs, like my life depended on it, all of that, those were signs of insulin resistance. And I had no idea because I had never even heard the term insulin resistance. So when I started, I'm going to tell you what I did, and then you can see if it resonates with you, because this is exactly what I teach. Very streamlined, very simple. I teach 2 things and 2 things only. I teach targeted supplementation and ingredient trade out. And the results for myself have been a loss of 3 sizes and avoiding type 2. The results for so many other people have been sugars coming down, insulin coming down, like a fasting insulin test, which most people don't get done. We should, but we don't. Pounds being lost where they haven't been before because they've been stuck even doing keto, stuck even doing meds and getting an A1C down, stuck. Just that's what happens, right? People getting off of scripts. Some of my favorites are anti-anxiousness, anti-sadness, HBP, high BP scripts, things like that. Because when you start to turn back, you can actually start to sleep better and have more energy, and you ache less. I ache so much less than I did 10 years ago. Oh my stars. Think about that, like reverse aging your body, because you're bringing down your inflammation by turning back your insulin resistance. So what I did was I started with, because I did not do my food first. I don't recommend that. I can help you compress time. Like Terry, when she jumps on, she in 8 months lost 40 pounds recently using exactly what I'm going to tell you about right here. And then she added in a couple of the other things eventually, which I can tell you about too. But she started with these supplements. She's 62, you guys. Did you wake up this morning and think it's too late? Did you wake up and think, do I just have to embrace this life of being overweight? And this is the way that it is. Like, I'm never going to be the person who doesn't crave carbs. I'm never going to be the person who can get off of sugar. I'm never going to be the person that. You don't have to think that way, because I'll show you somebody who did it. So don't think that way. Okay. Linda, thank you so much for sharing. You are my super new friend. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Because a big piece of this puzzle is to do it without shame. So these are 3 supplements that have 3 ingredients that help with insulin sensitivity. This is where I started a little over 10 years ago. Okay. And basically, this is the idea. Let's get down your sugar and your insulin. Let's get your liver to function at a completely different level. Let's work on your visceral fat and your metabolism. Like, that's what these 3 are doing. They're called the trio. And this is where I started. And this is what I talk about all the time. And so many people start just with the trio. And that is perfect. You don't have to do more than that. I'll give you a couple of other options for people who want to layer, because everybody is in a different spot. Okay. But this is where I started, and this is what I'm still doing today. And do not take my word for it. Jump over to my IG. I have a pink highlight bubble at the top of my page, and it's testimony after testimony after testimony after testimony of the trio. Just telling you. Don't take my word for it. You need to get results. People who are having labs done, people who are like for 3 years, literally could not budge 1 pound. And then all of a sudden, within 2.5 months, able to drop 14 pounds and 30 points in dawn phenomenon morning sugars. Just telling you. It's a different way to view things. It's a cellular conversation instead of a Band-Aid conversation. It's cellular. And when you can lift up the hood of your engine and begin to deal with all of the fluids that are low, so to speak, to deal with the function of your actual cell to become more, instead of resistant, become more sensitive, the game changes. Bring down your inflammation, bring down your inability to lose weight. It changes everything. Layering that, and people on Facebook, I can always see your comments afterwards. The trio are those 3 supplements right here. That's what they are. This is the trio. And you can get into my inbox, whether you are on TikTok or Instagram. You would have to leave the live, get into my inbox, and just say, like, can you share that cart with me? Or just put trio, message me trio, so I can get you that cart. And there's like a 2.5-minute video, etc. Facebook, you can always just put trio in the comments below, and then I can send you stuff. It stays there. You guys, your stuff goes away after the live. So that's why I put information up to text me and stuff, because it just goes away. But the second thing that you can layer in is, if you've never done any kind of a gut reset in your life, if you've never done anything for your gut, insulin resistance creates leaky gut. And so what's happening is you're leaching nutrients. So people are like, maybe you've noticed things like your hair is shedding, or you've got ridges in your nails, different things in your body that are showing nutritional deficiencies, but you can't figure it out why. Well, it's making it so that you can't turn back your insulin resistance. So filling in nutritional deficiencies can make such a difference. Filling in gaps. And then now let's shore up the sides of what's been happening. So this looks like a greens product, but it's not. This is the gut reset protocol that I talk about all the time with you guys. And it has 6 different blends in it. And I just take a scoop of it every single morning. And it has pre and postbiotics, digestive enzymes, alkaline spices, fermented greens, and it does have fiber from the extracts of fruits and vegetables. But again, organic, you guys. It comes from organic farms. And when you begin to recalibrate your gut, you would be shocked. So if you have constipation, indigestion, if you know that you're just not getting the nutrition that you're supposed to be getting, one of my customers is so incredibly excited because she has short gut syndrome. And so she was concerned, like, will this work for me? Will this do what I need it to do? And within 3 weeks, she was just like, OMG, I'm so excited, because there are so many things when you have different syndromes like that don't work. But for her, they are. But you should not be constipated. If you are, it's not normal. Somebody has to tell you that. You have to poop. You have to move your impacted waste. Otherwise, you're holding toxins in your body. Maybe you've had your gallbladder removed and you need desperately the fermented greens thought process and an alkaline environment, because you are dealing with, let's just say it's kind of a subpar environment and you need to deal with that. But then you need to make sure that you're getting a probiotic in there. You got to get a good probiotic and put back in your good bacteria. You have to do that because your microbiome in the United States, our microbiome, our bacteria diversification has been like cut in half over the last 40 or 50 years. Like, we've killed off species. And it's why we can't function the way we're supposed to function. It's one of the reasons. And with our diet, we just don't do things very well. But if you want to be able to, your gut produces your GLP-1. Have you heard about the GLP-1 injections? Anybody? Oh, everybody? Okay, everybody. Your GLP-1 creates, or your gut creates GLP-1. GLP-1's a hormone. So what if you're not taking care of your gut? What if you're not moving your impacted waste? What if you're not, like, your hormones are the conversation. They're not a part of the conversation. They are the conversation. Okay? So you can get your body functioning like taking your car to a mechanic and getting it completely detailed. You can detail your body. Okay? That's the detailing, the trio and the gut reset protocol. Okay? But then if you do want, and not everybody who's insulin resistant is overweight. Okay. However, there are people who are skinny and they're insulin resistant, and or there are people who are skinny and they know they have visceral fat, and that's the fat around your organs. This is why fatty liver and insulin resistance goes hand in hand. And we have such a high incidence of fatty liver in our nation. So if you want to target visceral fat, but you also want the benefit of seeing it on the outside of your body, you actually want to see your waist and your hips. Like, I've had such a narrowing in my hips right here since August. And that's since I started taking this. This is it's a clinical dose of an extract that targets your visceral fat. It's an orange pixie stick. I'm not going to open this one. I'll explain that in just a second. It tastes like candy. There's no other way for me to say that. And the results have been really, really good. And what I'm finding is, so one box is 30 days. And after a month, one box, that's when I'm getting all the testimonies coming in from you guys. Right around 1 month, people are like, so please, will you measure? Will you do me a favor and measure so that you can tell me your testimonies? Because when you can start to feel that, like, I thought that was going to be an area of my body that was never going to shift or change. I mean, I'm going to be 60. So I thought, like, isn't this just going to be what it is? Like, you can't change certain aspects, like, the last places in your body to lose fat that you're not happy about, because this is not about losing weight. It's about losing fat. Even when I'm talking about insulin resistance and bringing down your insulin and your sugars, it has to be about losing fat. because weight can be your impacted waste. It can be water. It can be muscle. That is a big conversation. I'm very concerned about people who are having injections and then they're losing muscle. And 5 years from now, yourself 5 years into the future does not want you losing muscle today. She doesn't. She doesn't. And so in fact, Renee, no, that's not the tea. Thanks for asking. No, the tea is the ginger mint, the organic ginger mint. This is actually it's an orange pixie stick. You can look it up on the website, Renee, if you want to. Or you can just message me. I'll get it for you. So one of the things that I learned, and I'll wrap up with this for you guys today, and then don't forget, we'll be back Monday morning, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time, so that we can talk about insulin resistance again and help you to get ready to be reset for the new year. The 5-day reset in the group Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women will start on Monday, January 6th. So I'm very excited about that. When we had the expert come in and he talked about thermogenic, burning of fat in your body versus metabolic. There's two different ways to burn fat. Even though we understand we're not burning fat, we use that terminology. There are two different ways, metabolic and thermogenic. And basically what he was saying was, do not let your body get used to a thermogenic. So he said, take this for 90 days and then take time off. So I did some research and I'm like, okay, so I'm going to take 30 days off. So right now I'm in a 30-day off period. But when you do take a thermogenic like this, something that's going to help you lose fat faster, he said, protect your muscle. And that's where some of you, probably not all of you, some of you might be already taking the CLA. So the CLA, it's a muscle protector is what that is. So if you have been taking the thermogenic and you want to know about that, you can ask me about that. But that's the only reason why I'm bringing that up right now is because who's protecting the muscle of people who are losing weight fast? Weight, and I did mean weight. If you're losing weight fast because of an injection, how are you protecting your muscle? And I think for me, it just comes from a deep place of my mom had dementia and we took care of my mom. And she passed away almost 2 years ago now. And as long as she could walk, because obviously we couldn't lift her, as long as she could walk, we could take care of her in our homes. But if she had muscle loss and couldn't walk, there was no other option. She would be in a facility that had a Hoyer lift, right? Or staff, that 2 people to get her up. And so I'm super cognizant of that. Like maybe this is just me getting older that I think about this stuff now, but losing weight at all costs is not, it's not the way to do. Yeah, text me, Renee. I would love to help you. It's losing weight at all costs is not. I get it, you guys. I do. Like, I'm not confused. I've been overweight my entire life. Oh, I should have a picture of my I have different pictures in my brain right now that I'm thinking about, but I've been overweight all my life. Like the bribe came in when I was 9. Good morning. Good to see you. When I was 9, I started getting bribed. 9. So it's been my whole life. And so I just don't, I want you to know that I don't say that willy-nilly. Like, you guys, it's not about just losing weight. Listen. It was for me too. Okay? It was for me too. And That's why we will do anything at all costs. In my 30s, I was taking Metabolife. That's what got banned at Walmart. Just think about that for a minute. But I was doing it too, because that's how ingrained that is in us, and that is what we want. And it took me longer than the average bear to lose my sizes. I was doing it on my own. I didn't have any live video. I knew nothing about insulin. Insa what? Insa what? I didn't know anything. I just knew that I had to go on this journey to figure this out. And I kind of kept it all in my own head. And I wanted nothing more than to feel normal. I wanted nothing more than that. I mean, it was just, it's in all of us. But you don't have to do it while you're losing muscle. You don't have to do it in a way that's compromising your very body structure or, your composition. You can actually learn how to lose fat. You can actually shrink fat cells. This is a real thing. It's not made up. It's not jazz hands. It's not magic. It's process. So targeted supplementation, trade out your ingredients. Every day we're here at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time, Monday through Friday. There's a group called Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women. It's free. Every month we do a free 5-day reset. The next one starts on January 6th. Can you see the track? There's a track and you can get on it. We'll do recipes. I'll teach you how to still be a foodie. This works, right? And because the lens is insulin resistance, the results are different. I hope that makes sense. You've been working on yourself and you just want to feel better. Renee, I hear you. And isn't that interesting? You cannot pay me. I do not go to a holiday meal and I'm just so perfect because I have all this willpower and I don't know. I'm trying to make something up and obviously it's not working. No, I don't want to feel like trash the next day. I just wanted to feel better. I just want to be on the floor with my grandbabies. And I know that if I eat all that trash because of an emotional connection with food that I've had to work on, I'm going to feel like I'm not interested anymore. I know what it feels like to feel like trash all the freaking time, napping on the living room floor while I was raising my kids, laying in the sun. I just wanted to sleep all the time in my 30s. White flour, white sugar. I made everything from scratch. I thought I was doing good. Thought I was smart. But I'm in my 30s and my dad just died when I turned 30. Type 2 diabetes. And I'm not putting everything together. I'm just telling you, I know what that feels like. It's horrible. Now that I'm on the other side of it, man, let me tell you what. I've got my supplements. I'm not stupid. I now know how to function. I know how to wake up and not ache. I know how to get on the floor with my grandbabies. I know how to have energy. I know how to enjoy my life. You cannot talk me out of it. And it's not because of some prepackaged program that cost me $1,200 a month or an injection that does not teach me how to fish. I needed to learn this for myself, but now I can share that. I am still a total foodie, but I thought I had to give it up. I didn't have to give it up. I need to get pictures on here so that I can actually show you what I want to show you, but I don't have them on here. That's okay. I'll get them on here. Oh, Kim, thank you. There is a lot of misinformation out. There is. I'm actually just going to see if I can make my clicky work. I appreciate you saying that though. There is so much misinformation out there. This is the problem. And I didn't know that either. Not until I started reading Maria Emmerich stuff. And I went, oh my gosh, this is making sense. This is why this is so upside down. And then I'd have one person say, I went to my provider and they told me I could have 150 grams of carbs a day, but I'm type 2. And they're telling me all I have to do is go from a pill to a shot. Something's wrong with that information. I'm like, yeah, there's something wrong with that information. What the heck is going on? And then I just realized that over time, all of the things that you guys said to me, I just don't know what to eat. I'm so confused about what to eat. I don't know what to eat. I thought I ate healthy. I thought I was doing keto right. I thought this and I thought that and I thought this and I thought that. And I'm like, oh, this needs to become way more streamlined. This needs to become way more easy. This is not a terminal diagnosis. If you can embrace that alone, you're going to win. You're going to win. This is not a terminal diagnosis. For somebody who just received one, they have to take a completely different path, you guys. You have to rightly see what we're talking about here. This is a frustrating diagnosis. It's a pain in the tuchus diagnosis. Like, I keep gaining weight diagnosis. I can't lose a pound diagnosis. But this is a hormonal conversation. And in my opinion, as a Minnesota girl who just spent a lot of time figuring it out, it's completely 100% reversible. Don't let somebody tell you that it's not. You don't have to go down the path of meds if you can properly take care of it on the front end. You can get off of scripts if you properly take care of it and get it turned around. And it's your own journey, and I get that. And you have to know how to assess yourself. You got to do stuff like that. I have people working with their doctors all the time. I have people that take this trio. They take the bottles and they take them to their doctor and they say, will you tell me, are these okay for me to take? Like, I have people doing all of that. Like, yes, work with your provider. Some of you have really good ones. Praise God. Let's go. Right? That's good. Oops, what did I miss there? Claudette, with the right information, it makes it so much easier to trade out bad products. I have to put that up there so I can read it. For good, and still enjoy the things and flavors that we like, but only in a healthier way. I am forever grateful, she says. Yes, it's so true. And you guys, you know what? What I do a lot of is I just dissect the flavor of the foods that I'm actually really looking for, and then I recreate that. Like, it's really like, I'm going to give you one example, lasagna. Maria Emmerich teaches instead of using noodles, you use sliced deli chicken breast. And if you go and get it sliced for you, ask for like a number 2 on the slicer, because it's not the noodle you're looking for in the lasagna. It's not. I promise you, it's the Italian sausage and the ricotta and the mozzarella, the sauce. Did I say sausage? All of that. You're looking for the package. So when you can trade out things like that, all of a sudden you're still a foodie. Look at there. Still a foodie. So anyway, really, really cool. All right. That is what I've got for you today. Monday, we'll be back 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Please reach out to me. Do not sabotage yourself this weekend. This weekend, as you're going into the New Year's Eve, celebrations, or maybe you've got even more celebrations on the books. Number 1, just do the best you can and choose to have no shame. Just get a longer term thought process. Okay? Just do the best you can for real. Win the day in whatever way you can. And I could give you a bunch of examples of that, but it has to be for you. However, you win the day when you go to that next Christmas party or that next whatever, okay? Win the day and then have no shame at the end of the day, because you can't heal a body in shame, okay? But number 2, don't stop yourself from reaching out to me if you have felt led to reach out to me. Don't do that. You might want to get started with just the trio, the 3 supplements that help with insulin sensitivity. Perfect. Tell me you want the cart for the trio. You might want the trio and the gut reset protocol, the 6 blend with the probiotic with the trio. You might want that. Tell me that. Tell me that that's what you want the cart to see. Or you might want that and, where's my thermogenic? And the orange pixie stick to help start reducing your waist and your hip circumference. Maybe that's what you want. Maybe you want all of it. Okay. But you know what? Knowledge and good knowledge and information is never a disadvantage. You don't have to, getting information is just getting information. But you have to reach out. You have to stop yourself from sabotaging another day. And nobody knows sabotage like I know sabotage. Self-sabotage. Because you know what? It feels comfortable. It feels comfortable. It feels deserving. It matches your feeling of unworthiness. I get it all. But it takes a little bit of courage and a little bit of chutzpah to actually push through that familiar feeling of comfort and actually reach out and say, I actually do want to see that cart of the trio. And then tell me about that reset in January. I need to get started. I need to be ready. I'm not ready. These holidays were trash for me, but I have got to have a different result in 2025. God help me. I've got to do something different because I can't do this anymore. Oh, I just want to feel better. Linda, I would love to get you information, but you are going to have to probably screenshot and then text me right there and just tell me you were on my TikTok live because I can't send stuff on TikTok. It's the only place that I can't, but I would love to get you info, Linda. I would love to do that. So you made the lasagna and she's totally right. It's so good. It's so good, Cheryl, isn't it? Thank God for carb blockers, Linda says. Yes. And you know, he talked a lot about the carb blocker, using the carb blocker during that Zoom. He was talking about that. I actually haven't used I have carb blocker on me. I used it for years to transition my foods, like 3-4 years I used carb blocker. And you can always look those up on my website. Once you're on my website, just look up carb blocker. Very helpful because it's stopping the spike in the moment. It's stopping up to 500 calories of sugar spiking in your blood the moment you're sitting down to eat. And it does help tremendously. It got me through my food transition. It was important to me because then I always felt like I could enter any social situation because, again, I'm having the conversations in my head. You guys, it's just me and Jesus. Like, I'm not telling people because I don't want the lashback. I don't want people to bug me. I don't want negative Nellies, and I don't want anybody's opinion about what I'm thinking or doing. I'd had enough food pushers in my life. I'd had enough food bullying to know that that's not what I wanted. So I just kept carb blocker in my pockets, just right here. I'd have a couple carb blocker. And I'm telling you, if I had money for every time I secretly snuck, and I would swallow them without water. Now they're just little tablets. They kind of are about this size. But I mean, I did it a lot. Nobody would have ever known. And you take 1, 2, or 3 of them, conditional upon what you're eating, like how high are the carbs. And I would just sneak them, swallow them, and then I would be ready to, because I just don't want to have the conversation. Am I just weird? Am I a weirdo? Maybe I'm a weirdo. I don't know. But I didn't want to explain anything to anybody. Oh, what's that? I don't know. Maybe I just didn't trust people about my own journey. Maybe that's what it was. I think probably it comes from my childhood, like everything does. You're so welcome, Mariana. Everything comes from your childhood. And so probably I had other ideas or whatever, or I tried different journeys in my childhood, and probably too many people said to me, oh, that'll never work. Oh, good luck. You know, maybe that was the response that I was getting. And I'm like, I'm just going to live my own life now and just have my own journey. Here I am in my early 50s. I'm 59 now, but at that time in my early 50s going, I'm just going to put carb blocker in my pockets and I'm just going to go to my social event. And should I feel like I need them or want them, because there's going to be there may not be anything that is served that is my kryptonite. Praise God, move on. But then there might be. And if there is, I'm just going to take my carb blocker. I'm going to eat whatever it is, and I'm going to choose no shame. That is literally what I did for 3 to 4 years. Literally what I did. That's the exact formula that I used. You can totally relate because if they see, then the spotlight is on you or they won't shut up about diets. That is exactly what that is, Renee. That is exactly. And then they want to know, so what are you doing? And when did you start? And what does that mean? And that's too unrelatable, or that's not sustainable, or, oh, I tried that, or have you heard about this? Or, oh, golly, there's so much opinion about food. It's actually one of the reasons why I didn't want to talk about keto online for a long time. People are very strongly opinionated about food. Aren't we so blessed that we can be so freaking opinionated about food in a first world country? I can guarantee you right now, nobody in a third world country is as opinionated about food as we are. It's ridiculous, right? So that's exactly what that is, Renee. Thank you for putting that into like context for me. So I just made my own decision. So if you want to go on your own journey, maybe it's just you in your head, but you need somebody to partner with like me. I would be so honored to partner with you in this journey. I understand what it's like not wanting to tell anybody about what you're doing. I get it. And I'd be so happy to partner with you. You can just let me know you want the cart for the trio and the gut reset protocol together, or maybe all of it. Add in the thermogenic so that you can just understand and get yourself prepared. Get yourself properly set up for something to come in the mail and land on your doorstep and be ready for the reset in January. It's January 6th. 3 p.m. Central Standard Time, Monday through Friday. I'll go live in the group Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women, and we're going to talk about insulin resistance and ingredient trade-outs, and I'll bring you into my pantry and my refrigerator, and I'll teach you a recipe, and I will resource you for free because you need other people in your community to help you actually execute. And then we'll do it again in February. And then March. So every month you have another brick to your foundation every single month. And pretty soon you'll be like Terry, who's like, oh my gosh, I'm 62 years old. It's been 8 months and I've lost 40 pounds. And her biggest non-scale victory was, it's been a long time since I've tucked in a shirt. Today I tucked in a shirt. How good does that feel? Just saying. It's very good. So, all right. You guys be phenomenally blessed. And I look forward to actually hearing from you in my inboxes, or if you're on Facebook, to have you comment whatever you need to comment, and I will jump in and get you that information. So be blessed, you guys. Enjoy your weekend. We're still having parties and having holiday fun. Don't forget to have fun and exceeding abundant joy. Do that. Choose joy. See you later.